everyone, welcome back to Shiko Hope TV USA. My name is Shiko Hope, and this is the home of hope. Here we give you hope, we tell you never give up. And you know what, guys? Today I'm not alone. Today we have a guest in the house. She is here. She has come to share her experience with us. She has come to inform us. She has come to educate us. She is so resourceful. And guys, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please kindly do so. And let me bring up my guest. Get ready because today we are learning a lot. And here is my guest. Hey, Janet.
Hi, how are you, Shiko Hope?
I'm good. And you?
I'm very good. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Okay. Yeah, I just came from work and I said, you know what, I have to show up for Shiko Hope because she's
Yes,
full of
yes. And
hope.
I feel so humbled because at last.
Yes, I'm so happy to see you, Shiko.
Yeah, I know my people are very happy too to see you. They have been telling me, Shiko, can you bring Janet? Janet is here today.
Finally, yes.
Finally.
Yes.
Yeah, Janet, today we are talking about coming to US through a student visa.
Yes.
And we know you are a teacher on that side. You are the pro on the student visas.
Yes, thank you so much for calling me a pro. The reason why I'm a pro is because I came as a student. So naturally, I went through the whole process. So your listeners are listening from the horse's mouth. I came as a student, I went through the embassy, and I'll be so happy to share my story. I don't know how
Yes.
you came. I think for you it's a green card, so you must be an expert in the green card, right?
Yeah, I know. I also talk from the experience too.
Okay, yes. Stories, you'll never go wrong with stories. Yes, so
Yes,
I'll wait
and
on you.
also,
Okay,
yeah, and also when you're talking about from your own experience now, you know everything. You can
correct,
guide someone.
correct.
Now, can you
Yes.
guide us? What is a student visa?
Okay, so a student visa basically is what allows you to enter the United States, okay, to come and study for whatever program you are looking for. So generally, anyone that wants to come to the US and they want to go to school, I mean, there are so many kinds of visas, but let's focus on F1 student visa, okay? For today, we'll focus on M1, F1, but usually there are other ways you can come as a student. So F1 student visa is what the embassy will give to you so you can pass the border, okay, the port of entry and enter the United States. And while in the United States, you'll be monitored on that student visa by the immigration, okay? So I don't know if you want me to go ahead and explain the process, but that's just the simple definition of F1 visa is what they will stamp on your passport when you go to the embassy, and that visa will enable you to come to the United States as a student.
Yes, go ahead and tell us how can we apply this visa and who
Okay, so
qualifies to apply?
okay. All right. So the good news for your listeners, Shiko, honestly, because you love hope, I'll come here with the word hope in mind. Okay. The thing is, when it comes to the United States, everyone is welcome to go to school. That is bottom line. If you want to start like that, think like that. Okay. Now the embassy will be a different ballgame. Having said that, I know where we come from. On different kinds of nations, they have different requirements. I know, for example, where I came from, they go by the grading system. And they will tell you, you got an A, you belong here. You got a B, you belong here. You got a C, you belong here. That is not what happens in the United States. But having said that, it's good for you to understand what you have in your pocket. What did you go to school for? Okay, and what did you score? And that will help you to determine what you want. So let's start for a simple person that went to, just finished high school, for example. Okay, there are two options. Depending on how much you scored, you can go and look in a university, go to the admission section and look at the requirements. If you qualify, you apply for university admission under international students. Okay. If you didn't pass so well, you try community colleges. You look again at admissions for international students, and then if you qualify, you put it in your application. The schools will guide you on what you need. But bottom line, most of the time, okay, these are the standard requirements. Okay, your application, obviously, for international students, okay, they will need your high school transcripts. And some schools will need you to evaluate those high school transcripts with an organization that will interpret the information to the United States. Okay? Some will require something called TOEFL, which is a test of English language. Some will require IELTS, which is also a test of English language. Some will require SATs. Those are exams that every student does after high school, but some schools will not require you to do that. So those are the basic requirements, and of course, application fees, okay? But after you submit that and you need any help, they will always guide you through your email. So that is the basic information. And I gave an example using a high schooler that just graduated. But of course, if you finish university and you have a first degree, you can always apply for a master's. If you have a master's, you can always apply for a PhD. And by the way, the process is the same. So you just need to know who you are. And the first step to go to is to identify a school, international office, put in your application, okay? And then after that, if they are satisfied, okay, with your application, they will ask you to provide a bank statement. Okay, a bank statement just tells them you'll be able to pay for fees in the United States and not become something they call a public charge. Okay, a public charge in the United States is someone that came from another country and they don't have food, they don't have rent, and they start asking the US government for help, or they go on the streets. Obviously, the schools don't want that. So they want some reassurance, okay? So they will need you to provide some, financial statement saying that you'll be able to pay. Now, after you provide that financial statement, they will let you know how much, mostly maybe $15,000, and it doesn't have to be your statement. It can come from a friend or a family member, but mostly family member. And that family member has to sign something called affidavit of support saying that they are willing to sponsor you, okay? So once you provide all that information, the school will issue something called an I-20, okay? I-20 just means admission. You've met all the requirements. Here is an I-20 for you to give to the embassy in whichever country you are, and the embassy will know you have admission, and then they'll process you for F1 student visa. So that is in a nutshell, that is the process, Shiko, okay?
Wow. And you have explained very, very well. And you know what? People tell me, Shiko, can you tell me any community college near you? And I will apply. Or they tell me, Shiko, can you go and ask for me how to apply? Can you tell us? Can you tell them they can check online?
Yes. So, I mean, where we come from, I can't speak for other countries, but there's this fear, okay? Because many people have been conned, okay? And, Shiko, us, because we are here in the United States, it's easy for us to identify, the legal websites. There's not so much, conning and everything going on in the United States. Mm-hmm. You can go on our website and you'll know, hey, this website, and you know the right words to use. So you know exactly this website belongs to this community college, this one belongs to this university, and you can actually call and confirm. So people are coming with that general information in their head that, hey, am I applying to the right people? Are these people online conning me? But the truth is you can actually just Google this information, get the websites. But the thing is, Shiko, what I tell them is, first of all, do you have any family member or friends in the United States? That usually can guide you, because that support group is social support is important. So you can always start with people that are close to you. Okay, let's say for you're in Dallas, which I'm surprised. I always thought you're in Seattle, Chicago. So I'm so happy to know you're my neighbor. So if you have a cousin or you have a brother or sister, I would advise them to look for schools around Dallas. Do you see what I mean? Now, if you don't know anyone in the United States, I would advise you to go ahead and maybe Google using words like small towns in America. Then identify a small town and then maybe go with the cost. Okay. Now, of course, if you can't, you can come sign up with Shiko Hope. You can come sign up with Janet Ranki, and maybe we can try and help you. Okay. I don't know how much Shiko can help, but at that point, people like Shiko, you might have to help, but I mean, you're so busy. Okay. But basically they just have to put in the work themselves and believe in themselves. But the cost and social support will be a very big deal.
Now, can you take us now through the scholarship? Can someone get a scholarship when he's still applying for a student visa?
Okay, so that's a good question, which we get a lot. Okay, I'm sure you get that a lot. I do. So scholarships, I always tell my followers, and I can tell your subscribers here, okay, you have to start the process. No one is out there just dangling scholarships. Scholarships belong to students. So the first step is to actually apply for a university or apply for a college. And then once you have that admission, most colleges and most universities have scholarships. And they will let you know if they have some scholarship for international students. And that is where you go and apply. And by the way, when they invite you or they give you admission, most of the time they will give you scholarship information. So that is the best advice I can give them. But having said that, okay, once you get admission, it's always easier. Okay, now your doors have opened for you to go online and say, okay, can I look for scholarship for minority students? Can I look for scholarship for African students? Because you have something in the pocket. You have some admission. They probably want, people that are going for psychology or people that want to, let's say, specialize in human rights. And maybe you have a scholarship that has international studies. You say, hey, I qualify. So basically, you can't just show up and say, I want a scholarship. You have to do something on your end, and then things will start rolling. Now you have opened your ways once you apply for school.
Mm. Wow. Janet, you have talked about someone, a youth, someone who is very young, fresh from high school.
Yes.
Now let's talk about someone who has a family. Can you get a student visa together with your family? Is it possible?
Yes, it's very possible. And especially, just understand it's the law. Okay. Anytime you deal with the embassy, you're dealing with the American law. And I think many people never understood that. And I started breaking it down, and now people understand it. Okay. The law allows students to bring their spouses and children on F2. Okay. So the embassy gives the student F1 visa, and the spouse gets F2, and the children get F2. Okay, so it's possible for you to come as a family. Okay, of course, there will be requirements for that, but most people ask, what are the requirements? The requirements are mostly whoever the applicant is, that is the most difficult. For the spouse and kids, all you need is actually to tell the school, hey, I know you've given me admission. I want to bring my wife, or I want to bring my husband and 2, 3, 4 kids. They say, okay, so for you, we wanted a bank statement of 15,000 per year. But since you're bringing your spouse and kids, 4 kids, we need a statement showing $25,000 in your bank statement. Once you fulfill that, they will write an I-20 for the student F1, and they will write an I-20 for the spouse and an I-20 for the kids. And by the way, that's information maybe people didn't know. They give an I-20 to each of those beneficiaries, okay? So I-20, the embassy will see, hey, we are processing I-20 for the student F1, but the dependents, they have also I-20 attached for each child and for each spouse. So it's possible, but you just have to understand that you need to show more money, okay? And most people prefer, I don't know, Shiko, I don't want to talk too much. Probably I'll let you ask more questions. You see, questions, each topic you ask me, I don't feel like I'm finishing everything. There's so much I'm leaving out, but that's okay.
No, continue giving us the information. That's what we need.
Oh, okay. So, when you apply for F2, always, there are 2 ways, and people ask me this. You can actually come first and see how life is and how much you can afford. And then maybe after a few months, 6 months of class, you go now to the student office and say, hey, I want to bring my wife or husband, I want to bring kids. And at that point, you can send the I-20s to your family. Alternatively, you can all go to the embassy the same day. I've not read any law somewhere. I'm not a lawyer, but I've not read any information that says, you need to do this. Okay, so usually people can just choose on their own what they want. Personally, I can give examples. Shikomi, I love stories, okay? My brother-in-law, he came as F1, okay, on F1 visa, but his program was only 2 years. And my sister was home with the children, and he had like 3 or 4 months to graduation. And then he said that was the time to invite now the wife. And the school said, hey, we can't give you an I-20. You only have 4 months to graduation, because the embassy will start saying, hey, where were you? And you're almost graduating. Why do you need the family when you're almost going home? And I told my brother-in-law, no, I've not read anything. There's no law saying when. I would rather you risk F2 because it has more benefits. My sister and the children will stay with you longer. They'll go to school. Okay, they might not work, but along the way, as you prepare other papers, they'll probably be able to work. Okay, but if we follow what the school was recommending, is just send them a visiting visa, they come for graduation and go home. So my brother-in-law listened to me, and we agreed, and he told the school, no, we don't want a visiting visa. We are ready for F2. And they issued an I-20 to my sister and the 2 children. Guess what? They went to the embassy and they all got F2 visas. And he was just 4 months to graduation, But remember, when people are on F1, they have something called OPT. You see, just because you finished school does not mean you go home. Every student that comes on F1 student in the United States after graduation, they have 1 year of internship where they can work, okay, for a whole year before they go home. So the embassy understood that. They knew, although my brother-in-law is almost graduating, he still has 1 more year. And by the way, if he chooses to continue, he could have even gone for more education. All he needed was just to apply for the immigration and extend. So that's why I love F1 visa. But that is a good question for those that ask about the F2. Yes, they can bring their spouses.
Wow. And Janet, can you tell us about the courses? Maybe I have done bachelor's in education. Can I now register for master's and change? Maybe I do master's in something different.
Yes. And again, just the way we started with this video, I was saying at home, they tell you what to do. In America, they don't. So that's why I told them, just because the universities at home told you are not smart enough, you are not good enough, you don't qualify to go to university. No, America is a land of opportunities and second chances. All you need is just to explore these universities. Even if you got a C, who knows? They might even give you remedial courses. Having said that, okay, yes, you can change and become a pilot if you're a teacher. Yes, you can become an astronaut. Yes, you can become an engineer. Okay, the sky is the limit. And yes, you can become a nurse or a doctor, even if you are a teacher back home. So what am I saying? Yes, you can. But now I always tell my followers and subscribers, what will you tell the embassy? And that's why I advise them, like, you know what, if you are a teacher and you have a bachelor's degree, I would rather you take a master's degree in education. And then when you come here, attend school the first semester as you learn America, and then obviously change to anything you want.
Wow. That's a good one.
Yes.
I asked my people, I have a date with someone who came here with a student visa. Can you send me the questions that you want me to ask her? So whatever I'm asking you, they send me those questions for me to ask you.
Okay, I'm here to answer.
Yes. Now, can you tell us what are the courses that might not help you here? Might not help you.
Might not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a very tricky question to answer on Shiko Hope TV. Your follower might want to think again, okay? Because on Shiko Hope, we are all about hope, okay?
Yes.
So you cannot say nothing is not hopeful, okay? Might not help. But this is how I'll approach this.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, your first degree will always take you places. Whether it's in education, whether it's in history, whether it's in Swahili, the fact that you have a bachelor's degree, it will take you places. Now,
yes.
Having said that, you want to be smart on how you choose these courses. There are those that if you take, they will give you green cards and H-1B visas, and you'll be able to stay in America permanently. Okay? There are those, if you take, obviously, you are more than likely to get employment. Think like home. What would we have done to get a job? Okay, so it's the same thing here. But us as immigrants, obviously, we want to be smart. We have to fight a little bit harder. And what do I mean by that? I would recommend you take a course that will need you to have a license. That is a summary of everything. I always tell people, and I also tell my own kids, take a course that needs a license. What does that mean? Okay, they are not going to pick anyone on the street to replace your job. So whoever has to take your job has to actually go to school, do exams and get that license that you have. You see what I mean? Like Shiko, for me, someone to do what I do, they actually must have gone to school minimum 6 to 7 years, been in the field at least 3 years, and passed almost 4 exams. So how are you gonna replace me? You see what I mean? So it's always good to just for that's how we think. That is how we think. But honestly, if you have papers, I don't know that there's any cause that might not help. I don't have any off head. Do you have any, Shiko? Do you have any?
No,
And I know
I'm
straight
just
for my
asking you
followers
this
to feel me
question.
saying that, but the sky is the limit. You can always get jobs. Because I always thought maybe people can just do nursing and then they'll be okay. But I've seen people come on my page, sociology, and they get jobs. I have people with information technology directly from home. I've seen teachers, like today, a teacher just wrote to me thanking me because she came on J1 visa, okay? And she's having a job wherever she is, she's teaching children. So I will stay away from courses that don't need a license, but obviously, you need to be smart on how you choose your course. Number one is how will you stay in America permanently? But number two, how, what will give you job security? And no one can replace you in that job easily. Of course, there'll always be people to replace you, but you make it harder when you have a license. They have to think twice before they replace you, which they don't. But they don't come with that attitude. They don't do that. All I'm saying is don't make it so you enter a course. Like, let me give an example, and nothing against this. Shiko, you pushed me. Now I have to give names.
Yeah, bring
I
it,
feel
bring it.
like I feel like there are courses that are too clean. Okay? Like business administration is a very clean course in America. Like people dress well and they can become CEOs and everything. So I'm thinking like Americans will not have a hard time recruiting their own Americans on such a job. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and like for nursing where I have to go and push carts and clean patients, okay. I hope they, yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Someone asked this question. How can I be able to pay my tuition fee? Maybe I didn't get the scholarship, but I am admitted. How will I raise money to cater for
Okay.
my tuition?
Yes, that's a very, very excellent question from your subscriber, because at the end of the day, we are coming to pay in dollars. Okay, very, very expensive. But again, there is hope. Okay, the first step you're doing is to get that visa. That is the most difficult, by the way. How do I cross that
Okay.
port of entry? Once you reach here, you'll meet people like Shiko Hope. Uh-huh. They might have ideas. Me, I don't know what ideas they have, but they have seen students go to school. You know what I mean, Shiko? So, but apart from that, okay, when you come as a student on F1, that visa they stamp at the embassy, not F2. I'm talking about F1. F2, your spouse and kids will go to school, but they will not be able to work yet. Okay, there are other ways for them to work eventually, but during that time, it's just the student. The student can work on campus 20 hours per week. By on campus, I mean any job that is within the borders of the campus. Or it can be a satellite, or a branch of the university. It's not off campus, but it's still a branch of the university or the college. 20 hours per week. And by the way, it adds up, Shiko. Let's do a simple math. Maybe you put in 20 hours per week. 20, and then you earn minimum wage of $10. You think it's small money? 20 times 10, 20 hours per week times $10, that's $200 per week. In a month, you have $800 in your pocket. And in America, most schools have something called, we have something called payment plans. So you arrange for payment plans. If everyone else is being given 3 payment plans and you're having trouble, always go to the financial office and say, I need 6 payment plans. If that's not possible, it means that you are going maybe at that point, after talking to people and having your social support, knowing how people raise money, and scholarships on campus, after that, you might have to explore hardship. You don't want to be deported, but we are thinking before. I don't want to go in that hardship place because me, I believe your followers, Shiko, they will come, at least come with some money for the first semester. Okay? And when you reach here, remember you can work. You're going to get a social security. You can work on campus. If not, okay, hardship. Hardship is always an option. Okay? And there are many ways, by the way. Now, when I first came to America, we did not have loans that cater to international students because business in America, they can't lend it to foreigners because what if you graduate and you run away? Okay.
Mhm.
So loans are only given to permanent residents, which the other name is green card, or citizens. During our days, if you came as a student, you can come and say, hey, Shiko, I know you have a green card. Come and co-sign me on this loan, please. I want to ask for $5,000 from a community bank. And then Shiko will say, hey, I have some good credit. And since you are my cousin or my friend, I'll come and co-sign for you. Then that means that the lender, if your cousin doesn't pay, they will come for Shiko Hope. They will not go for the cousin. So Shiko Hope just gives them assurance, okay, that this money will be paid back. Now, those were those days. And even just finding someone to do that is very hard. And I don't blame people. People don't trust you. I mean, what if you run away with their money? But the good news these days, they have something called Empower. Okay? They have Prodigy. These ones cater to international students. Why? Again, that's why I like F1 student, because they know after graduation, you have something called OPT. OPT allows you to work in the United States 1 year post graduation. And they know during that time you can work full time, day, night, day, night, day, night. America is not Europe where they tell you don't work. Here you work. You work, okay? They know if you work, you'll pay them back their loan. Okay. So those are just, you can always borrow loan, scholarships on campus. Okay, there's something called CPT, which is too much for this video. Maybe that's too much information. You can always apply for hardship. Okay, so those are some of the things. Apply for what do you call payment plans? You know, pay as you go, pay as you go. Ask money from home. The whole thing, I always tell people, it's not money. It's a strong desire to succeed. When you have the desire and you have the determination, okay, the sky is the limit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, Janet, can you tell us now? I am Shiko. I am back in Kenya. In the smallest rural area, I want to go to America by a student visa. I have just applied to that community college or university. Now, from there, like the duration of the process, like how long can it take to process and get the visa?
Oh, okay. So it depends. As I said, you know, what are you applying as a high school graduate, or you have your first degree from your university, or are you applying for master's or PhD? Every program will be different. Why do I say that? Some programs will need you to have exams. Maybe you need TOEFL, you have to be done with that. Maybe you need SAT, you have to be done with that. Maybe you need GMAT or GRE, you have to finish those things. So that takes a process. Maybe you need to evaluate your document, that takes a process. Okay, but let's say it's a basic college, okay, that doesn't need a lot. By the way, there are those that don't need all those exams, so we are giving you hope. You just have to do your research. Okay, I don't see why it can't take even 3 to 4 months. The embassy is the problem. When do you get your booking? You see what I mean? Yeah, but the schools here, it's up to you. They ask this, we provide. They ask. So let's put it simply, okay? Schools have semesters and schools have quarters. It depends, okay? So like now they are starting the fall. So if you start making an application in August, there's a deadline maybe in November for those who will come for the winter, which starts in January. So that means by November, you must have all your things. And by November, if you have all your things, in November or December, they will issue an I-20, okay? And in December or January, you will go to the embassy. So you see that timeline. So each quarter is usually like 3 to 4 months. If you are quick enough and you have everything you need, why not? You can always join. And by the way, their system here is not like home where we used to join only once a year. You can join on a rolling program. You can always join each semester, and they have 4 semesters. Summer is, it's not compulsory. So they have fall, which is their major one. Right now, America just opened schools. They start in August, September. That will take them to December. This is what we call fall. In Europe, they call it autumn. Okay, then in January to March, that will be the winter. Okay, from March to around June, that will be spring. Okay, and then summer is optional. Okay, summer is when people go to the beach, and that's when international students can. By the way, that's another thing. That's how you pay fees. Okay. Someone told me, one of my followers told me, Janet, please tell your followers I learned the hard way, but I will recommend them to apply for the spring semester. Okay, spring starts around March to around June. That means you're in school only one semester. Voila, then summer. Then you work like crazy. So by the time you're done with summer, you have enough money to come back in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So those are some of the tricks. That's why they need to follow Shiko Hope. Follow Shiko Hope and get all this information.
Yes. And then when they come here, they ask more questions. Go to Janet Rangi. Ask those questions over there.
As we are here to provide help, you know what I mean, Shiko? At the end of the day, we are making our community strong, okay? Yes. We are very open. We don't hide any information because at the end, we want you to succeed. And you know what? Guess what? Not everyone will be able to do the things we are doing. And that's why they come for more help. So the more we give, the more we get. That's just the way it works. Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I told my people, we apply for green card. But that is not the end. We have to pursue other ways.
Amen. That is now, a very, very good point. I tell them all the time, a green card is a lottery.
Yes.
And you have no control on a lottery, but you have a control of a student visa. Your chances are much higher. Okay, you have control of a visiting visa. You have control of a J1 visa. You have control over every other visa. So just keep trying to find a way to come in here.
Now, as we wind up, this is like the last question.
Okay.
If a student visa gives you permanent stay in America,
can a student visa give you permanent residence in America?
With a student visa?
No, it cannot give you permanent residence, but it's a pathway.
Now, would you like to share how we can convert to PR?
Okay. So I can share with you my story, but obviously not everyone will be Janet Rangi. Everyone is different. Okay, I came as a student on F1. Yes. For your information, the embassy gave me a visa for English as a second language. It was only 6 months. Okay. But most people will come in with maybe a master's, or they're coming for their first degree, whatever brings you here on F1 student visa. Okay. Now, for me, I happen to be a nurse back home. Okay, I had a degree in nursing, and I knew at that point they were very desperate to get nurses. So when I came during the day, I went. By the way, before you start class, they did a placement test in English, and I was happy. I was lucky because we had so many students, especially from Asia. They were training for the same English, so they put you in a placement class. And the teacher was saying, "Oh, you got 100%." Then they gave me permission not even to show up in class sometimes. So guess what? I used to spend most of my time reading for the nursing exam, which we call NCLEX. I passed the NCLEX. When I passed the NCLEX, I found an employer. The employer is the one that sponsored me for a green card. That is when we call change of status from F1 student visa to green card. Okay, from F1 student visa to permanent residency. So that is how I became a resident. I worked for this hospital the contract was 3 years, but I loved them, I guess. I worked for them for 4 or 5 years. That was in New Jersey. And then I moved on with my life. I went to California. I've been to Texas. I've been to all over United States. So the whole point is, yes, it's possible. You can always change from F1 student to green card. Now, for other people, it might be different. They might come in as students. Hey, they might fall in love, and by then they can fall. Oh, sorry, I don't know who follows you on your page, Shiko Hope. Let me not talk too much. I might say things that are beyond this page, but
no, I mean, give us the information, Janet.
Yes. So, I mean, some people come here and fall in love. They are on student visa. They change to green card, and that marriage has to be legitimate. You see what I mean? Some people come here and probably they fear for their lives, okay? And they are gay, they are being threatened with their lives. Like, people have many issues where you fear for your life. You have to have a reason. They come within 1 year, they request asylum. They say, please, America, we are scared of this. Please give me asylum. Some people, and by the way, when you marry, it can be either sex. That's why I say I don't know who follows this page, okay? In the
Yes.
United States, there's same-sex marriage. Okay? And so, I mean, okay, you come as a student teacher, okay? If you come as a student teacher, you change to nursing because you want a green card. Let's say you have a wife, you have a husband, you are not looking for love. So how are you going to stay permanently? Nursing is a pathway to getting a green card, okay? You can choose medicine, but those are too many years. I don't know what you will do, so when you reach here, people will tell you, but again, I wouldn't even go with that. People will tell you, follow Janet Rangi, follow Shiko Hope, and get the right information and read. Because the thing is, you might come here and people tell you, hey, just hide under the table, let everything expire. Then before you know it, you have nothing. So, I mean, but the whole thing, what I'm saying is, yes, you can learn from people, but do your own research. But the answer is yes. Once you come in as a student, which I highly recommend student visas unless you have a green card, it just gives you time, Shiko. It gives you time. Let me give you a quick example before we go to the next question. If you come on a bachelor's degree, it's 4 years. After you graduate, they have something called OPT. You work for 1 year. During OPT, you find a master's program because now you don't have a green card. Now you have some money. You are not going back. Again, you try your luck. You're in the master's program. You're here legally. Okay. After 2 years, again, you're like, hey, let me stay for master's. They give you another 5 years. You don't have to go back home for embassy, blah, blah. You just apply at school. Once they give you an admission to the next program, you tell the immigration, hey, I want to stick around for my PhD. So you are always legal. Who told you in 5, 6, 7 years you have no solution? Surely. In that, for me, within those years, I'll produce nursing and I'll produce a green card.
Yes.
For me, I will produce a marriage, wherever it takes. Like, I don't know. Everything has to be legal, right?
Janet, I like you because you talk the truth, because that is what happens.
That's what it happens. Because, let me give you an example. Someone was asking me, Janet, my husband is a truck driver. I want him to come to America. How can he get a job in driving? You see, that is a very, very rigid way of looking at it. And I understand where we come from. We think if I was a teacher, I have to stay a teacher. No. Just understand when you come to America, you'll have a job. That is the bottom line. Because if you think America is coming here to recruit truck drivers, it never happens. In fact, the natives themselves, they think their system is broken. So the whole thing is just when you come in, you see what America has to offer legally. And you just follow the directions legally. That's what happens. How do you cross the border? That's it.
Yeah. Janet, before we end, someone is here through a visit visa. She or he has overstayed his visit. Can he apply for green card? And if he applies, can the visa be approved, or he will be denied because of the overstaying?
I've not seen, I don't know anyone. I've had some people overstay, they marry American, they survive it. Basically, if you overstay the visa that they gave you home, you've broken the law. You've broken the law. So what do? You find a lawyer. Never make applications if you've broken the law on your own. You have to find an immigration attorney and they will walk you through the process. Okay, so that I only talk about things that are legal, things that I can read on the website, official website, and come and present to my people. Okay, anything that is beyond my practice, I'm a vlogger. That is not my area. I can only share stories that I've heard on the streets. Just the same way you can hear a story on the streets, Shiko. Okay, but usually when you break the law, you've made your life very, very hard. It doesn't mean it's impossible because we have a lot of hope, but you have to see an immigration attorney. Even if you come as a student, okay, and you happen to break the law by working off campus or working without permission, okay, and then you go making any application with the immigration, you always want to seek professional advice. Because can you imagine, you provide taxes. They say, where did you work? Oh, I work. Okay. and you wonder why they denied you, because you broke the law. So that's why you always want to have an attorney to speak. That's why you see problems in America and people are on TV, the lawyer is speaking and not the client. You understand? Because the lawyer knows what to say and what not to say. That is what they are trained to do in school. So always remember, if you are not sure, invest money, okay, and get an immigration lawyer always. In as much as I teach people to do all these things, there are those things that you have to know yourself. How legal are you? How familiar are you with the system? Always go to an immigration attorney. That is a perfect example. If you overstayed your visa, find a lawyer. Don't give up. In fact, find a lawyer today so you can put your life on track. You need to go home and see your people. How long are you going to stay here without seeing your people?
And you can just tell them that the attorneys, the lawyers are very expensive.
Yes, the lawyers are expensive, but it's worth your money if they are going to make you stay here permanently. Let them do their magic and their training. That's what they went to school for. Us, we don't know that. We don't know if they will approve you, but basically that's why you follow us. So like Shiko, you asked a very important question: how will people pay? You need to know how to pay so that you don't drop out of school and drop out of status. So that way you never reach that point where you have to mess up with your immigration papers.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Janet, thank you so much for coming to Shiko Hope TV.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's fun. It has been very nice for you to invite me on this page. They can follow me on Janet Rangi on YouTube. It's Janet Rangi on Facebook. And I also have janetrangi.com if you want to know who is this Janet Rangi. Just go on janetrangi.com. There's a section I've made about videos and you can read about Janet Rangi. And by that, I wrote a book. Okay, the book will be right there on janetrangi.com.
And you can tell them that we are in the same state, but it is like you're in Mombasa, I'm in Eldoret, right?
Correct. In fact, you surprised me all this time, Shiko. I thought you were in Washington, D.C., okay? Not D.C., Washington State in Seattle. Yeah, so Shiko Hope is in Dallas and I'm in Amarillo, but we are both in the state of Texas. If I want to see Shiko, I'll have to drive 5 hours, and those are 5 hours American time. With potholes, we are thinking of 8 hours, okay? So, do your math. That's how far Shiko is from me, but we are in the same state. But thank you so much, by the way, Shiko, for being a follower, okay?
Yes.
And for following my work, and I'm also following your page, and I'm so happy to be here with you today.
I started following you back in 2018.
Wow.
You can imagine.
Wow. So you've seen me through the process of improving and learning, yes.
Yes, you are very resourceful. And now here we are. See? God is God of miracles.
The limit. Yes, the sky is the limit.
Janet, you are going to come back again with how to go about nursing. In the next video, guys, tune in because we are doing nursing in our next video. Janet is going to tell us more about nursing, why nursing, how nursing, and everything to do with nursing. Come back in our next video and Janet will be here. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.